Hello again, me Stokie with Mastermind Games, back for another painting video, and my camera's acting fine already. Okay, fine. Painting Neyam Shai Murad from Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. Close skin 09221. So, she is a rogue trader who received her warrant of trade and her ship from another rogue trader she used to work for as a bodyguard, I believe. It impressed him so that he left her his stuff when he died, more or less. I said the most awkward way possible. So, the only skin shown on her is a little bit of her face. And then I'm going to take his yellowed bones, or 9143. So, unlike Janice Drake, who's more of a generalist, she is a dedicated ranged attacker, laying into enemies with her two antique revolvers, assisted both in targeting and loading by her paired servo skulls. So I'm just going to get the scroll work here. And we can see one of the skulls performing its function here. And unlike Drake, who is in it more for money, Murad seems to be in it to ascertain the threat that the Blackstone Fortress presents to the Imperium, and has gathered several others with similar goals in mind. Primaris Psyker and an Imperial Crusader, which are coming up. Okay. Well, let that dry so we can figure out where my camera went kooky, and then move on a little bit. Yeah, that's definitely weird. Okay, well, we'll try adjusting the number of lights I've got on. But next up, yeah, Alien Purple. This is going to go over a coat. Okay, let's make certain. Okay, it looks like it's going okay so far. So, I'm illuminating my area now with 4 small LED lamps, and it looks like it's, well, right now I'm using just 3, but it looks like it's helping with the blur things somewhat, as long as I take it a little more slowly and don't try to speed through rapid repositioning of the miniature in question. Okay, now where's that seam? Kinda right here. So this is odd that she's wearing a breastplate, but it only covers half her chest here. Rogue traders are definitely people who attempt to be high fashion, and fashion knows no sanity. Excuse me. I don't think I'm getting sick. I hope I'm not, because I hate being sick, but I work in a place that is basically a petri dish. That was before the pandemic. blue 09017. The only thing this is going on are the big feathers coming out of her helmet, which seem to be a thing amongst female rogue traders, because Lucia Vane has some of those as well, and one of her nicknames coming from the orcs is Da Feather Death. Okay. A little bit heavy on the water, but that'll be all right. Okay. Let that dry and move on a little bit. Can I? I really don't think I can do anything else right this second, so I'm gonna let that dry. All right. Okay. Next. Uniform gray. Actually, no, not yet. Changed my mind. Chaotic red next. I want to get her pants next, but instead of having them in gray, I want gray to be a more prominent color here. So the chaotic red. And yep, she has a peg leg ending in a sword blade. Now that seems like a pretty cool weapon, which it is. In game, she's a ranged support type, so she does damage by hanging back and filling things full of lead with her pistols. And actually, this is going to go on one other thing, though I should have done the steel first. You know what, I'm just going to go back to it later. Let's go back with that color a little later. Where is the steel? Here it is, 09206 Tarnished Steel. Need to touch up her coat a little bit. I missed a part over her left thigh. But the steel is going to go obviously on the revolvers. Let's adjust that light a little bit and try to keep my hand out of it. Well, you'd be perfectly right to question why someone in their right mind would use a revolver in the 41st millennium when bolt guns and las pistols are available. Now, some of these weapons can be pretty high caliber. And in looking at Eisenhorn from the various omnibuy, he uses a huge variety. One of his first guns is a 4-shot heavy pistol. Probably something that even makes a bolt gun look reasonable by comparison. And in, I believe, the second book, he's going undercover in a slum populated by mutants on the fringes of the Imperium. And the most advanced weapon he can take is a flintlock pistol, because anything even slightly more advanced than that would draw way too much suspicion. A bit of my breath is caught in my throat. Alright, let's get over all these servo skulls and get the bulk of the body And there are wires in here I want to pick out in the red, but I need to get this first, because doing the red first would be doing it the hard way. You've got two different colors closer together. I'm going to do the majority one first, and then it'll be less arduous to pick out the secondary. Or maybe to say it in a less grammatically torturous way, by doing the primary color first. Okay, I see it's up with this gull, so it's got this plate on its head right here. Alright, there we go. Basically going from the rough to the fine. That's the way I should have said it in the first place. Alright. Now I'm starting to ramble a bit. And I'm hearing bad noises coming from my computer, and I've just dropped 100 frames in the blink of an eye. Well, at least I'm starting to fix the blur issue. And I'm still got work to do on that too, but at least I'm starting to fix one of my problems. So these servo skulls not only assist in loading, but also targeting, and that's reflected in their abilities both in Blackstone Fortress and the Warhammer rules, or 40,000 rules. So let's see, is this thing playing nice with me? No, it isn't. It is not. So I'm just going to cut here. I'll get the cabling off camera, and then do the gray I want to do. Alright. Now, uniform gray. It's like certain I'm focused, because this is starting to fight me again. Let's try getting another light on and see if that helps or hinders. Well, so I think I got the focusing fixed. It still refuses to play nice. Maybe if I add a little more color. Alright, let's just see what happens in a minute here. So, uniform gray. And this is going to go on this rock right here, as well as her boot. And these secondary strips of cloth. And her belt, she's got a little pouch here for who knows what. It's just a belt pouch, could have anything in there. To the straps going to the scabbard for this knife. Let's see, where does that? Okay, so that just ends right about here for that one. And this one from her neck down in front. Kind of on the back as well. Looks like it's akin to a veil, but doesn't seem quite like a veil. Looks more like a cloth beard, but who cares, to be honest. I just noticed she's got an elbow pad on her left arm. So we'll pick up the pad part in the metal color I used for the armor. Okay. So I need a little more on the back of the boot here, along the back of the calf and the heel. And where's... Okay. Old bronze 09197. There's only a tiny dot of this. Yeah, I'm going to use a tiny dot of that. I was starting to focus for a second there. Looks like I'm starting to fix the focus problem, but I still have some work to do. But this is just going to go on this bullet here. That is being loaded into her revolver. And now, antique gold 09050. Let's get some armor plates picked out. Hearing my computer making bad noises again. What's that going on here? Looks okay so far. And actually, I changed my mind about the bronze. We'll do these reinforcement bands here on the servo skulls that are connecting the secondary cables to the main cable. Just to get a little more use out of that one. Now antique gold 09050. Start on the bionic leg. Get the knee here. Breastplate and the shoulder. I have to be a little cautious because the servo skulls are sneaking around there. The armored elbow here. This was another one of the push-fit, easy assemble models. I use a little glue anyway, but you don't technically need them. However, I also find that some of these don't fit together quite as well as they should. Maybe I was just doing it wrong, but given the way certain things fit, I think they could have used a little more redesign as well. I can do that little buckle on the back in gold. And I just want this to, the scabbard to match the hilt of the blade here. Given her fighting style and what she's packing, this dagger is most likely ceremonial, used only in emergencies. Besides, she's got that peg leg that can take somebody's head off. And of all the rogue trader models that have come out in the last couple of years, all three of them, two are women, and both of them have their faces covered quite substantially. So, okay, let's see here. Yep, that's base coats. Let that dry completely. And then when I come back, I can start shading. Looking good so far. Just in the paint job, the video. I'm making progress on things, but I still got a lot of work to do on the cinematography. Okay, time to shade. Where to start? Okay, I'm actually going to start on the feather with Sapphire Blue 09016. Cleaning it into a wash with 1 part water to 1 part paint. Keeping the brush nice and wet during this. Just dab it on there and let it flow down into the cracks and crevices. And then, let's see, I want to do one more. Let's do choices. Let's do Blackened Steel 09205. If you do colors that are adjacent to each other, you run the risk of having those colors bleed into each other, which will affect how the model turns out. So you can make that work for you, but you should just kind of think that ahead first. It's better to do something like that deliberately than to do so accidentally and feel you have to start over or otherwise fix it. And again, it is kind of funny to see a warrior from the 41st millennium using a revolver, but then again, in that Eisenhower novel I mentioned, Xenos, excuse me, a little funny, as it opens up, he's using a 4-shot slug gun with a hefty amount of stopping power to make absolutely sure what he hits stays down. Right. I know I've got something of an awkward angle with the lighting here, but there's not much I can do about it because if I put a 4th light on, it'll help that, but it'll also overload what my camera can take in terms of brightness. Okay, there we go. Get the side there and the side here, which has the optic in it. And the sword blade peg leg. Okay. And I'm going to let that dry completely before moving on, but that's a nice start. Alright. Next, Ancient Bronze 09049. Boy, it seems every time I look at my monitor, it seems in focus, and every time I turn away, it seems like it's getting out of focus. Whatever. Get that thinned out. Okay. It's a little tricky right here because I definitely do not want to nick the steel of the servo skull's little spinal column there. plate on the back of the coat, the knife, knee pad on the one boot, and the knee of the bionic leg. That's blade still drying towards the bottom, but it's dry enough I can move on. Excuse me. And then aged Pewter 09196. Not much of this one. Just a bit on the bullet being loaded, and on these sort of clamps or bindings keeping this secondary wire and the main bundle of cords here together. Okay. Now, let that dry completely again and move on. I was trying to focus on a little better, but there's still some problems. I'm getting there, but I'm just going to have to keep tweaking things. Okay. Next, Stormy Gray 09088. I'm at a point where I can only do one color at a time. That's all there's to it. Get that thinned out. Get the brush nice and wet again, and just go over the previous gray of the... I guess I'm calling this a veil, but it's not really a... doesn't really look like one. Not all that much. Again, it looks more like a fake beard than anything else. Okay, the idea of fake beards being a fashion trend is just hilarious. Okay. So the big announcement, as everybody's probably seen twice over by now for Warhammer, is the 9th edition coming out. I am impartial. At least all the books and codexes are going to be compatible with it. The trailer for it was amazing, though. I do like the way that Games Workshop is doing more of a multimedia approach to all of this. Alright. Well, I wound up nicking the dagger, so I'll just kind of tidy that up. And I'm going to have to let this dry before moving on, but getting there. Alright. Just about there. Next. Can do two at once. Stained Ivory 09142. And this is going to go on the servo skulls. And I nicked the arm by mistake, but that's what the paper towel's for. Get that in there and set that up. The other servo skull. And the ivory on the pistols. Maybe a little bit up here. There was a very specific way these were highlighted and shaded in the gallery. And I want to mimic that. And I think, well, I think there's a way to do it. And then Nightshade Purple 09022. And with that, it's just going to leave the red and the flesh tone that we'll be able to highlight in detail. Well, lighting effects. There's going to be a few lighting effects on the servo skulls that I just about forgot about. Now, some parts of the model are open to interpretation. I think she's got a collar on right there, so let's dab a little of that in there. I think I want to start on her arms next. Go along the back. Again, keeping the brush nice and wet during all of this. Did I forget? It's fine, it's fine. Be careful about not nicking anything else when I get the coat. Talking softer, but at least I'm not whispering. So maybe I've gotten over that habit. Maybe not, but maybe. We'll see how it goes. And while this underside is probably not going to be highlighted much, if any, I do want to shade it. Like that, so that's just going to leave the red and the flesh tone. So let that dry and move on. Oh, and I'm dropping frames again, so it looks like I stopped just in time. Oh boy. Alright. First I'm going to take matte white and prep some lighting effects. Not too many. Though it is triple the number I had originally thought I was going to do. So it was essentially a base coat, so I'm using just enough water to thin the paint, and we'll dot in the optics here, and on the pistol. There's a tricky angle right there. So the purple is not completely dry, but it's dry enough I can move on, at least in the areas where it matters. Okay. And I'm hearing my computer make bad noise, so I'm going to make sure I'm not dropping hundreds of frames a second. We're okay. Now the last shade is going to be Red Brick 09001. So if I'm mentioning a number and my color name is a Reaper Master Series paint, if I don't mention a color name, then it's an Army Painter War Painting. I was starting to shift away from the Reaper Master Series towards Army Painter, and then I shifted back. So both brands are fine, so it's solely a matter of preference. Starting the cables, which are going to be the most delicate part of this. Oh, jeez, that was close. There's that little bit of red. Olive Skin Shadow 09220. And there isn't much of this either, actually. So I just need a tiny dot. Oh boy, I just punched out my white. I'm still okay here. Kinda. Just down a little dot kind of on the back of the head here. And then the base that is showing up underneath the helmet. And now I'm going to take Vampire Red, because the white should be dry by now, and do this as a lighting effect. The tiniest of dots is going to be plenty. Now for a lighting effect, you'll need 2 to 3 parts water to 1 part paint. Set it all up, keep the brush nice and wet. You want a very inky quality to your paint here. Just dab it in. Just dab it in. You want to see if you can keep some of the white showing through, because that'll help sell the illusion that it's glowing. Okay. Preferably you want that white kind of towards the center of what you're lighting up. And that's got it. Now I'm going to let this dry completely. When I come back, I'll start highlighting and then wrap up a few details and we'll be done. Yeah, I still got some options on my focus, but I'm getting there. Okay, time to highlight. 09222 Olive Skin Highlight. With your base coats, you want to start in the lowest area and then go to the highest, shading highest to lowest, and highlighting lowest to highest in general. Some model is going to be a little trickier on if you want to work efficiently, but you know, do what you need. Excuse me, do what works for you. Okay, so I got my paint out. I'm going to use a dry brushing technique, and I'm going to need, which one looks good for this? Not that one. This one. A ragged feathered brush, something along the lines of that. No water, straight paint only. Rub it out on your paper towel until it looks like there's nothing left. Then lightly dust the area to be affected. I'm just going to worry about the face here. Well, what there is visible anyway. Next, Vampire Red. And again, lightly dust in the area to be affected. These cables are going to be a little tricky here. Okay. Which one next? True Silver 09207. Get the steel. This one's about empty. I have a spare on hand, but I do like to get as much as I can out of my bottles. And with dry brushing, your paint is going to dry very quickly. Almost, but not quite instantly. And you want to go against any raised edges, so that'll help catch the paint. And I haven't done the gun barrels yet because those will look better. It's a little flimsy there. If I put that in later after highlighting, I've done it the other way before many times, and I've just determined that doing it at the end makes it stand out more. Sky Blue 09018, which just went flying. Okay, hang on a sec. So we're going to drop the frames there for a minute. Okay, let's see, that's the blue. Where am I at on layers? I see. Tarnished Brass 09198. Now it at least looks like it's focusing a little faster, even if it gets out of focus at times. It's going to go on the bullet. And these bindings here, keeping the bundle of cables on these servo skulls together. Not much of that at all, really. Now, Amethyst Purple 09024. Gotta focus again. Just gotta be careful on that. And I am at least making progress on the blur issue, but I'm still not quite there yet. But I'm at least heading in the right general direction. Not that one. This one, I think, yeah. Do a bit on the other side. This is where the bulk of it's going to be. Just that is too much paint. And my focus is on the most readily visible surfaces, so. Alright, not bad. Let's give that a second and do these skulls in Creamy Ivory 09144. And just the skulls. Got something different for the ivory on the pistols. There's a very tiny one of the tiniest I've got. Because I want to avoid the steel. There's a kind of a bare patch on top. Just a little extra paint to touch that up. And now for the pistols, Pearl White 09100. This one is a metallic white. And that should give a nice ivory color. I just need the right brush for the job. And through my collection here, let's try this one. Sometimes it is kind of a guessing game, even when you've got a good, decent collection of brushes like I do. That'll look nice. Now, rats. My brushes are running away and getting all over the place. I did it again. There you go. Misty Gray 09090. Make sure I'm in focus because I got a little funky there. I just about dropped her again. Might have a little too much paint in it, but you know what? I'm going to roll with it. I think it'll work out. A bit on the back of the head there. Okay, that's going to leave the gold. Yeah, just the gold. I'm just about done. Great. With that in mind, I'll keep my brushes in line. New gold 09051. I especially want to pay attention to the helmet. It's burnishing it really nicely. Okay. Well, that does it for highlights. That turned out pretty good. At least the painting did anyway. Now a little matte black. A little trouble focusing again, it seems. There we go. That's got it. I'll have to figure out an alternate way of doing this at some point when I get a little more room. Taking a detailed brush. Just gonna carefully dot in the gun barrels. Dot in and just gonna throw this in here. Take that Alright, that's just going to be awkward, so I'll just leave it at that. And then switching over to a flathead brush. I'll find my best one. There it is. And the paint didn't. Oh, I just realized I missed one bit of the Misty Gray. And that's just on this rock here. That's good enough. It's going to blend in with the flock I put it with it. Not the flock talus I'll put on. But going back in that black, I'm just going to line it to the base. I don't have to worry too much because she is nicely planted in the middle of it. Alright, let that dry completely, then I can apply some basic material and wrap up. This overall I want to want some more smoothly. Still have some work to do on the focus, but I'm getting there. Okay, time to base. So white glue and water. I'm using this empty Gatorade bottle lid to as a convenient mixing container. Some soft drinks, especially sports drinks, have kind of a rubber coating on the inside of the lid. That's actually really handy because I've actually been able to reuse the same two lids for years. So be surprised what you can scavenge that's normally to be considered garbage. And then we're going to put some water in there. I'm just using some of my paint water I'm using to wash my brushes off it, and that'll do just fine. I'm using a brush dedicated to this task to mix it up. Overall, this kind of messes it up for painting, but I found thorough cleaning keeps it working okay. Let's get that out of the way. Get some of my fingers there. Now, I'm going to carefully dust around the feet. Or not dust, paint around the feet. I am mixing up my terminology. That is terrible. Okay. Then I'm going to dip it in my material, which is a mix of fine, coarse, and medium talus or rock debris. Just give her a dip. Dust off the excess, push it away from the edge of the base with the thumb there. And I'm going to take a spare brush that's dry and just dust this away push it away from areas I don't want it. So I'm going to make sure the blade leg is nice and exposed there. I don't mind if she's stepping into the rubble a little. Okay, now I need to let this set for at least 20 minutes, closer to 30 probably, before I can seal it. So we'll let that happen and come back in a bit. Okay, final step that I can do on camera. Scenic cement. This is a sprayer brush on adhesive. It's a Woodland Scenics product. There's probably other similar things you can get. So the only thing left that I can't do on camera is to spray it down with a varnish, which is an aerosol can, so you need to do that outside. I'm taking a glass eyedropper and carefully dripping the cement onto the base material. This actually wound up sitting overnight, but 30 minutes, give or take, should be enough to keep it in place. Otherwise, this will move your material around, make little divots. And that is it. Uh-oh. I was cracking up again. Oh boy. So, I'm tired. So there we go. Neyam Shai Murad from Warhammer Quest, Blackstone Fortress' Escalation expansion. Got 3 more explorers I'm going to be doing here, plus a retinue character next before moving on to the hostiles in the box. Until then, I am Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, signing out.